Towards the end of the Clone Wars, the separatists were losing their footing and desperately trying to maintain the war effort, but facing defeats on numerous fronts, they were struggling to do so. But what was the separatists' actual strategy towards the end of the war, and how did they intend to still defeat the Republic? Now, as we know, the final stage of the Clone Wars was primarily known as the Outer Rim Sieges, in which the Separatists bunkered down on loyal CIS worlds in the Outer Rim, and this does actually look a lot like they were basically getting ready to throw in the towel. They'd surrendered a lot of the territory that they'd taken in the Mid-Rim, and they were basically just putting in a last-ditch attempt to survive. However, this was actually part of a far larger strategy formulated by Sidious to push his own agenda. Now, Sidious, as we know, orchestrated his own kidnapping on Coruscant to bring Anakin, his future apprentice, back to Coruscant and back to his grasp. However, there's a huge problem with this, and that's that Coruscant was one of the best defended worlds in the entire galaxy for most of the war. Realistically, Palpatine couldn't get kidnapped on Coruscant, especially not without arousing some amount of suspicion from the Jedi, and this is one of the key reasons why the Outer Rim Sieges come into play. The Separatists were losing ground, as we've previously discussed. The Republic, although being very slow to move into the war, once fully automized against the CIS, was actually an incredible force to be reckoned with. The CIS was struggling to keep up, especially with Sidious playing both sides. Now, for this reason, they needed to slow the Republic onslaught, and how they intended to do this was literally putting distance between them and the Republic. The Outer Rim is on the fringes of the galaxy, and for this reason, systems and planets are far more spread out than they are in the core and mid-rim. For this reason, it's difficult for the Republic to hit hard in one particular spot. As we know, the Republic's military was far smaller than that of the Separatists. For this reason, spreading out was difficult. The Republic couldn't fight on as many fronts as the Separatists could. The Separatists could easily put 500,000 droid on dozens of worlds, and they could hold those worlds pretty effectively with this. But the Republic only had around 4 to 5 million active troops at most at this time period. They lacked the capacity to spread out as thinly as the Separatists could. So basically what they had to do was just move from world to world, system to system, and this was very, very slowly. And it really decreased the pace of the war. Realistically, if it had kept going at this pace, it probably would have gone on for years more. Now, the Republic, needless to say, didn't want the war to go on for ages, and the CIS knew this. Although people are often supportive of conflicts at the beginning, over time, support quickly wavers. And the CIS were counting on this. They knew that the politicians were under pressure to end the war as soon as possible, and the CIS was likely hoping that this was going to force the Republic to come to the negotiating table. However, the Republic was actually more dedicated to winning the war than maybe the Separatists first thought. They were throwing all available forces to the front, and this ultimately meant that defending the core and Coruscant wasn't a big issue. They tied all of their entire army and navy up in the Outer Rim. Realistically, the mid and core was barely even patrolled at this point. At the end of the day, the enemy was literally on the other side of the galaxy. However, this ultimately presented Palpatine with the opportunity that he'd been waiting for, allowing Grievous to sneak his fleet into the core and attack the capital, kidnapping Palpatine, which brought his soon-to-be apprentice to him and you know the rest. Now, you can see why the Separatists were so okay with this strategy, because it actually makes a lot of sense. They had superior numbers, and at the end of the day that meant that they could take a lot longer in the war. As well as this, the Republic had nowhere near the capacity to patrol all of the territory that they had. So the Separatists were fully able to just draw the Republic away from their base, and then they could easily attack it. Realistically, if the kidnapping of Palpatine went as Grievous had originally planned, the Republic would have been forced to negotiate a surrender, or peace, and the negotiation would probably have been quite favourable towards the CIS. And at the end of the day, that's all the CIS wanted. They didn't need to destroy the Republic to win the war. All they needed to do was make the Republic negotiate with them and give them what they wanted. being independence for certain worlds and tax cuts for certain businesses. But what do you guys think of this strategy? Wise or foolish? And should the separatists have thought maybe something was afoot here? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I do hope that you enjoyed. If so, please remember to like, share and sub, as it's really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @TheLawGuy and tick the bell for regular updates. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.